Hi everyone, today I want to share with you a quick tip on Google Forms, and we're going to create an exam together using Google Forms. First thing you want to do using your Google Drive is go to wherever you want that form to be saved. Otherwise, your drive just gets full of forms and then you have to click and drag. So if you go to your My Drive, wherever you want to keep your form for this specific test, go to that folder there and then click on New, go down to More, and then Google Forms. Now, if you see an option here, you should see an option actually. The first one is a blank form. The second one is from a template. There are a lot of templates for you to get started should you want to do that. I find the easiest way though is just to go with a blank quiz. It says blank quiz, but it's not really a quiz right from the beginning. There's a couple of changes that we are going to have to do to it. So I always start with a blank template. So I'm going to choose that one. And then once it loads, I will give it a name. Let's call it a fun test, just so that we can get a couple of things on here. And then you'll notice that up here, it should have taken fun test, but because it already had blank quiz, I'm going to change that name to match whatever the title is. And then you can get started right away on your form and you can start plugging in questions and doing those kinds of things. That's not normally how I do things. The first thing I do after I name my exam, I will always go up to the settings cog wheel up here. I'll click on it and I will restrict it to ECSD users only. Most of the exams I write are for my classes only, and I want to make sure it's my kids that are writing the test, so they have to log in using their ECSD username and password. Because it's a test, I will also limit it to one response. Now, I'm not going to limit this to one response right at the beginning because what I want to do is I want to take the test myself a couple of times just to see what the kids are going to see to make sure I've got the answer key, everything's correct and ready to go. But after my exam is all done, I'm going to remember to go back to the settings and limit to one response. In the presentation tab, I like to show the progress bar. So it tells the kids how many sections they have left to complete. Um, it's just a purely visual thing. It is not needed, but it's something that I like to do. And then in the quizzes tab, you want to make sure by default, this will be turned off, make this a quiz. So you want to just make sure that you turn it on. And then your grades will be released after each submission or after everybody writes the test, then you can go back as the teacher and release those grades manually. Normally, I just do immediately after each submission, but everybody's going to be different. And then here's some options about what the student can and can't see. Do you want them to see those missed questions? Do you want them to be able to see the correct answer? And do you want them to see what each question point value is? So that's just a choice that you're going to make. After you're happy with your settings, you're going to go to the bottom and you're going to click Save. The very first thing that I like to do after that, as I'm beginning my quiz, is for the first question, it's very, very important to save yourself a massive headache. Ask them for their name. So I always go first and last name. Um, However you want. But the name is absolutely important. Otherwise, you're going to be chasing kids down and keeping track of them by using their email address, which is not what you want to do because you want your Google form to be a nice, quick, easy assessment for those kids so that you can see where they struggled and if you have to go back and reteach a concept. So definitely a name is something that you're going to need. And the Google Forms is pretty smart. It recognizes, oh, based on this question, the teacher's probably looking for a short answer. And that's probably correct. Something else you can do is you want to make sure that their name is actually on there, require their name to be there so that they can't submit it. They can't submit it without a name, so you won't get any nameless copies. So if you require that, then they have to put their first name and last name or whatever you decide to put here before they can submit that test. Something else I like to do is I also like to add what grade they are, or grade slash homeroom. If you teach multiple classes the same subject, this is going to be a really nice thing to do. And from a drop down, or even multiple choice, but from a drop down, they can choose, oh, I am 7A, 7B, 7C, or whatever classes you teach. And then option number 4, you can just go down and delete that one. Okay, and we want to require this as well. So we can do that. And I'm not sure why it's not letting me delete number 4, but we'll look at that a little bit later. After you've done this, if you click on the preview, you can see, okay, here's my fun test. It's going to be taking my address, but the students are going to have their ID account or ID number on there. But it's requiring me to have my first name and my last name, and I have to pick what my homeroom is going to be before I can move forward. So if we go back to our test, now we can start actually inputting our questions. Now to do that, I always create a new section. So I'll add a section. So what the kids see first, this would be like the title page of the exam, telling me what the exam is, if you want to put a description in, and then this is where I'll put my name and my homeroom. And then section 2 is where my exam is actually going to start. So Google usually asks you kind of to title your sections, because right now it's an untitled section. So the way I organize my tests is I'll do, let's say, true or false, or multiple choice, short answer, long answer, things like that, all together. So I'll combine them. So let's say section number 2 is going to be multiple choice, so MC for short. And then this is the title of that section. And then from here, I can put in my my questions. So where do you live? Well, I live, not short answer. I want a multiple choice. So Calgary, boo. Edmonton, yay. Vancouver, oops, if I could spell, that'd be nice. Toronto, again, I can't spell and talk at the same time. And then that would be that one. And then we don't have to require this one. Some teachers will, some won't. But you probably want to include your answer key. So if I click on answer key, where do you live? I want this question to be worth 1 point. And I'm going to choose the correct answer of Edmonton. And I can go back and edit the question had I made a mistake or whatnot. But you'll see, I will see as the teacher making this exam, the check mark for the right answer. Then I can go to the next question. Which NHL team is the best? You can probably guess where I'm going with this. Canucks, Oilers, Leafs, boo, Flames, they don't really count, they're not really a team. Sorry, again, answer key, choose the Oilers, things like that. And then I can keep going, adding my multiple choice. If you are moving from, let's say, Microsoft Word, Exam View, even if you've got stuff in Google Docs, you can copy and paste your question. So your question would be copied, obviously, into the question. But then you can also copy your multiple choice answers. So if you've got 4 different options, and let's say they're sentences and they're fairly long, just take those 4, copy them, paste them. Google Forms will automatically put them in for you. And then if you add too many questions, like, oh, now I've got this 3rd question, I don't want that for multiple choice, you can always go and trash that over there. Okay, so those are for your multiple choice questions. Then we want to add another section, let's say, and this can be your short answer questions. And then again, a description, the short answer. This is the title of your section, and here is where you're going to be placing your questions. Why do you like Edmonton so much? Okay, it'll recognize it. Why do you like Edmonton so much? It's looking for a paragraph answer. You can do a short answer one. Usually the default is best. I'm guessing short answer is going to have a limit to how many characters uh, can be answered. So paragraph is always a safe one to do if you are expecting some fairly long answers. So again, you're going to choose paragraph. For an answer key, on here, it's a little bit more difficult because the students here are going to be expressing their opinion or justifying an answer if this is maybe social studies or if they're trying to do something in LA and there is no straight right or wrong answer. It's something you need to read. In the answer key, what you would do, instead of giving the correct answer, you could provide answer feedback. So you could look at something like maybe climate, sports, family is here, all kinds of reasons, so that when the kids submit it, Google Forms won't mark it for them, but at least they can see kind of along the lines of what you were looking for. So if they hit these three things, then there's a good chance, okay, they've met the outcome for that question. After you've done your feedback, hit save, they won't see that until they submit it. Now, short answer. I've got three answers here, so on my answer key, it's going to be out of the three. So, but again, you can choose whatever you want, and then you can edit questions, things like that. Add more. So edit questions. You can add more questions. You can do whatever it is that you like. You can add a title and description to that question. So again, that's going to be similar to your section title. You can add a image to your question or even to your section if you wanted to add an image. So if you are putting in sources and you want the students to be able to see that source, you can throw that image on there. You can add a link to a video. You can search YouTube right from here. So you can have them watch the video, respond, or you can go back and you can create another section. Once your test is finally completed, you will want to preview it. So this is what the kids are going to see. And then you can take the test yourself as an answer key. You can do that. I'm going to choose grade 7A because that's all I've got there, the sevens. And you can see the progress bar here. I'm on page 1 of 3. That's why I like that progress bar, so the kids know how to budget their time a little bit. If I don't hit the required, if I don't place anything in, it won't allow me to go to the next section without completing this first. But I've completed it, so I'll hit next, and then it'll take me to my multiple choice section. Again, here's the name of that test, and then here's this multiple choice section. If we had a description, that description for what to do, instructions maybe would appear right over on the purple here where it says multiple choice. So let's take this test. Where do we live? Edmonton. Best NHL team around obviously is the Oilers. You can see I'm on page 2 of 3, and I can go next, and I can then go to my short answer section. Oh no, I've made a mistake. I'm the student. I can always go back and I can fix that because I haven't submitted the exam yet to be marked. So I'm still writing the exam. I just use the back and the next as if I were flipping pages on a paper exam. Then I'm going to go next, and then I'm going to do my short answer. Why you like Edmonton so much? Let's see, I'm in grade 7, so I'm going to write because that's what grade 7s do. I'm confident with that answer, and I can either go back to review my exam, or I can then submit my exam. When I submit my exam, the students will see this. They can view their score. It'll pop open another tab, and it'll tell me that I got 1 out of 4 correct because on the multiple choice, I did not assign a point value to the NHL team that is the best. I only assigned one to the city in which I live. Okay, and then automatically my short answer is marked wrong because this is something I'm going to have to mark uh, outside of Google Forms. But I've got their answer, and then they can also see what they've got. So we've made this mistake here, this error, and now we have to go back and fix it. This is why it's important that you yourself write the test or take the test before you assign it to your class. So we're going to close this tab. I'm going to close this tab as well. And if I go back to my actual exam, I can see here which NHL team is the best. It has 0 points. I need to assign a point to that. Okay, and then here, where do you live? I already have 1 point. So back to NHL team, you see that Oilers are still clicked as the correct answer, but now I have 1 point. Okay, so you need to make sure that you do that. After your kids have written their exams, you can go back and you can view their responses by clicking on response, and you can see how they did. Okay, it gives you a nice little breakdown, tells you how many got it right, how many got it wrong, and it just breaks down each question for you, which is an excellent way for the next class, next time that you see them, to review the previous day's exam. And those are some basics on Google Forms.